Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings. J.R.R. Tolkien thought that, Lord of the Rings, his three stories, The Fellowship of the Rings, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King, were unfilmable. He also believed the Hobbit story was unfilmable. Anyone who actually read the books also agreed with the author that these stories were unfilmable. Well, Peter Jackson said, I've got this. Hold my beer. I'm going to do it. And by hook or by crook, Peter Jackson did it. He nailed it. Now, we spoke about this in my mini retrospective of the Hobbit trilogy. And even if you hate the Hobbit trilogy, which a lot of Tolkien fans do, I don't. I find the trilogy rather entertaining, but obviously it doesn't click like the Lord of the Rings movies do, or even the stories, even the books, click more than the Hobbit story, because the Hobbit is a light, children's tale, if you like, and the three Lord of the Rings stories have a lot more meat on the sandwich, which I also mentioned on my mini retrospective the other day. But this film, and we should talk about it as a film, because it is a film. Peter Jackson did the impossible. He really, in a lot of ways, he looked at what Dick Donner did with Superman the movie. He got, thespian actors of the stage and theatre. People like Sir Ian McKellen, who was doing okay prior X-Men and Lord of the Rings, but he wasn't really doing much in Hollywood, if anything. It's interesting that he became really, really famous later in his career. It gives me hope as a 51-year-old dude, or 51 this Thursday. Don't forget to wish me a happy birthday, because I'm really excited about being 51, by the way. But anyway, yeah, he cast people like Ian Holm as Bilbo, so Ian McKellen as Gandalf. Now, what's very interesting about Sir Ian McKellen's portrayal in all six movies, I think without Sir Ian McKellen in these movies don't work. Because Jackson nails the look of the movies. It really does. It really is. The books come to life. He did the impossible. But if we look at Tolkien's mentality in terms of the Fellowship of the Rings, it's very interesting. I was rewatching it yesterday, and they mentioned that this is going to be a fellowship of different cultures, banding together to basically stop a huge threat, the end of Middle Earth. And I think that's a very great, interesting message, because a lot of people say a lot of things about Tolkien. And I think even Tolkien fans never talk about the fact that he was very kind of for, different cultures to unite. Because that is what Tolkien was doing with Lord of the Rings. We have these different cultures, right? We have the elves. Then, then you have the hobbits. And, you have other cultures within this world, within this story. So it's all about looking at the mentalities of different cultures. We saw that with the Hobbit and the dwarves as well. And I found their story so interesting. And what I love about the Lord of the Rings stories is it's David versus Goliath. You've got this, this strong, dark villain that's forged this ring that can literally control you. It can literally find its way back to its master. And this mission to destroy this ring has been entrusted by a hobbit. Now, he's not a child. He's a little person, but he's just used to an ordinary life, like his uncle Bilbo was when he went on his adventures as well. So what Tolkien is doing here, it's David versus Goliath. It's the beautiful moments that Jackson really captures, and not just in the Fellowship of the Rings, and in the next few days we'll talk about the Two Towers, we'll talk about the Return of the King as well. I think it's the Two Towers where Sam makes that brilliant speech at the end of it, and it really is a beautiful inspirational speech. And, you know, Sean Astin does such a great job, but it's really, really well written. And I'm not sure if it's taken straight from the books. But Fellowship of the Rings does an excellent job at getting all this together, getting all these different elements. As I say, one of the best elements of this film is the casting. It really does work. I've been watching Elijah Wood since he was in Forever Young with Mel Gibson as a young boy. Well, in Fellowship of the Rings, the child actor became a man.